Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching in the world. Welcome along to the Apex Online Racing Hype Energy League, which takes us to its 19th round of the season here at the United States Grand Prix. My name is Kieran McGinley, and joining me in the commentary box is Mr. Austin Smith. Austin, we're in that town that's named after you. How are you feeling tonight?
Yes, we are. Hi, Kieran, and welcome to the viewers. I'm feeling fantastic. I love this circuit. It always is a lot of fun to drive. It's a lot of fun to watch, and it really has a lot of different corners for everyone.
Absolutely, it's a very balanced track. Quite a track that has quite a bit of undulation, especially through Sector 1 and then going in towards Sector 2 as well. And you've got the long, sweeping right-hander towards the end of the lap. Of course, we'll be avoiding calling it Verstappen corner by all means, by any means, but I will call it that at least once. I won't tell you when. But it obviously comes down to strategy here then, Austin. What's the sort of thinking behind the drivers? I know you like to get their insight.
Yeah, you really have to find a balance here between top speed on the long straight in the second sector, and obviously on the start-finish straight as well, and good cornering speed through the fast S's in the first sector. And then obviously you gotta also find a good setup for the slow corners, of which there are quite a few here. Turn 11, obviously, the corner before that long back straight. Then basically the whole beginning of the third sector here. Turns 13, 14, 15, that whole sequence right there. Final corner, first corner, all of them really, really slow. And you really need to strike a good balance here. You need to have the car perform great in all areas. And a slight mistake, a slight imbalance here can really hurt you, not only in the qualifying, but also lap after lap after lap in the race.
Absolutely, and some drivers will think this is a great track. I personally like this track. I think it's nice and flowing. There's a couple of opportunities to overtake, especially going down towards after the DRS, and I believe it's 11, or is it turn 12? I can't remember now.
The end of the straight is turn 12.
Turn 12. I thought I wanted to go for that one. I didn't have the confidence. That was a shame. Anyway, you can tell I haven't got the track map in front of me right now, but yeah, two DRS zones, one along the start-finish straight, the other down that long back straight between turns 11 and 12. It's safe to say, Austin, we're going to see overtaking mostly at these opportunities, but also it's quite an odd turn 1. Obviously, you go up the hill, which means your braking marker is kind of later than you would normally prepare for, because of course you're against gravity.
Yeah, gravity does slow you down there. We have a similar effect in Austria turn 2, where you also go up the hill, and therefore you can brake later, because gravity itself slows you down. And the same thing applies here. The issue the driver's going to have with turn 1, though, is that the start-finish straight, as long as it isn't really long enough to allow overtaking unless you get a really good run. It's not impossible, but it is quite tough. And the better overtaking opportunity, because the DRS zone is longer, the whole straight is longer, certainly is into turn 12. However, what also opens up a little bit is the whole section right after turns 13, 14, 15. We've seen overtaking happening in those corners before. Turn 15 is an especially deceptive one, because it allows you, really, if you take the ideal racing line, you take a very wide entry and then cut inside for the apex to get a good run out of it, and then for the triple right-hander of turns 16, 17, 18, as you called it, Verstappen corner. But if you are, a little bit cheeky and you want to overtake, you can take a narrower line into turn 15. Obviously, you hurt your run out of that corner, but who cares? I mean, you got the position. And we've seen that plenty of times, so I would expect those surprise overtakes into turn 15, maybe once or twice today as well.
Yeah, obviously, around about 5 drivers, it's still in with a shot of claiming this championship. I think basically we've got 75 points left to score.
78.
70. Yeah, 78. Yeah, you're right. I keep forgetting the fastest lap bonus point.
Yeah.
So 78 points left to score in the championship. That will then include Johan, who's leading the championship, 179. Benidorm, who he is on the standings here, are 168, 11 points behind. Table Clan in third, 157, 22 points behind. Marco Krisman in fourth, 142, 37 points behind. And Ian Motti in fifth place, 120, 59 points behind. So 5 drivers who could potentially win the championship, although for Iamotti it's looking more and more mathematical, the chance. We've still got a great run for the championship towards the final 3 races.
Yeah, we have. In fact, we can at this point exclude Iamotti from the conversation because he is not here tonight. It's the 3rd race in a row that he misses, and since he misses this one, he will be out of contention by the end of the race, whether Johan scores any points or not, even if there's 0 points scored for Johan, yeah, he is here. Okay, I looked from the standings up. I looked from the very bottom up, and of course him being in 3rd place right now with no one having set a time, that took me a long time to find him there, but he is there. As is Benidorm, VRT Aero, P4, Table Clan, P10 right now, Marco Krisman, P2, there you go. So those 4 all here. Iamotti out of title contention, as he has again not shown up, unfortunately. But yeah, it's really, really close, 37 points. And I'm going to tell you, Marco Krisman, he may be 4th in the standings, but he has the biggest momentum behind him. A win in Japan, a 2nd place in Mexico. The last 2 races for him went absolutely brilliantly. I think he's on a mission right now, and 37 points in 3 races sounds tough. I mean, that's over 12 points a race, but it's not impossible by any means, especially if you have 4 drivers that are this close. He could very well hope for some other drivers, Table Clan and Benidorm, take some points away from Johan, and then over the course of the next couple of races, each other as well. If Krisman keeps on winning or getting 2nd places, he may put himself back into this title fight.
Yeah, and of course, remember that Benidorm in the standings is actually Aero in the Toro Rosso, just to point that one out, just to save any confusion. Riding on board with Slimbo then is he's got the sun in his eyes going around that long right-handed corner, a real test of those tyres, but he's winding up here in towards the final corner he goes, and we're going to ride on board with the Ferrari for a lap of the circuit of the Americas. A little bit tail happy out of the final corner now, onwards towards turn 1, and it's literally onwards and upwards on towards turn 1. Look out for the braking board just before the 50-metre board. Then it's a very wide entry into the corner, but it very quickly narrows down into the exit now in towards turn 2, and this is where you're relying on your aero here through turns 3 and 4. Turn 5 very quickly followed by turn 6 as well, dropping down the gears as you go through, trying desperately to hold on now. Through turn 7 we go, up the hill through turn 8 and towards turn 9. Be very careful on turn 9, there's a sleeping policeman there ready to catch you off guard. Now down the hill towards turn 10, and then onwards towards a harsh braking zone of turn 11. Use this to recharge your battery, because you're going to have used it a lot through that S section. Careful on the throttle out of turn 11. You've got to make sure this exit's absolutely spot on to take full advantage of the DRS zone. All the way now down towards turn 12. You actually get a moment to think about where your braking point is. Looking at the right hand side there, you can see braking around about 70 metres before the corner, and again another tight left-handed corner now. Make sure you get that exit spot on. A little bit of lock up there as we head in towards turn 13 through the right hander there of 14, flat out through there. Now as you head towards turn 15, you're almost trying to trail brake in towards 15 there on the exit there. Careful on the throttle there as you apply it through 16 and 17 and through turn 18. Full throttle through there for the Ferrari as we now head down towards turn 19. 2 left-handed corners to go as we make our way now down the hill, and you can see there the sun glaring off the curve. Very easy to get it wrong in towards turn 20, and he heads towards the start finish line. 131.7 from the Ferrari. Looked a pretty clean lap for me, Austin.
Yeah, it very much was. I haven't seen many mistakes. Obviously the lock up into turn 13, I think that was, yeah. That one, I think Slimbo would like to take that one back if he could. other than that, it was a pretty good lap, and as you can see here, Marco Krisman not able to beat him, two tenths down, Pipmad 4 tenths down, the times are coming in, and Slimbo's time is looking good indeed. So very, very good lap from him.
Absolutely. Johan has got to be on the ball here. He's currently on the hard set of tyres, but it looks like he's backed out of it. This is going to be a banker lap. Jaquita there, 133.7. Good debut so far from him in these first handful of races for him. Always a tricky one to make your debut this late on in the season, but he's taken to the water well, Austin.
Yeah, last 3 races, or his first 3 races really. 7th, 2nd and 5th, so 34 points in just the span of 3 races, as Pedro is now the first one to beat Slimbo's time here. But yeah, Jaquita, I think he can be very proud of himself, and I think he's proven himself already after just these 3 races that he belongs into the F3 tier, and I think he should be in the F3 tier next season as well.
We've got Zenki, who's just parked. He was spent a long time there, parked on the pit lane exit of the track there. Almost a very similar thing to what happened to Kimi Räikkönen, where he had to pull off to the side because the engine just wasn't playing ball. And you can see there the car's very jumpy in the S section. Of course, the tyres will be colder than they should be, but he's really struggling to keep that car under control.
Yeah, you can see it very, very clearly, and this to me, it could have 2 reasons. It could either be a setup issue, which seems like the more likely explanation to me, or it's just that maybe Zenki was taking an unusual line there to heat up the tires in the first sector, or maybe he was struggling with colder tires. Because he was waiting on the pit exit, the tires obviously must have cooled down. Maybe a little bit too much for his liking, because he seems a little bit more stable now. As Switch Dynamite leaves the session, he has 11.5 minutes to rejoin. But yeah, Zenki, it seems that he isn't comfortable on this track. And I don't know, maybe he didn't have enough time to practice beforehand. I don't know. This is just a guess from me. This is just what I think. Oh, huge slide out of the final corner there. Yeah, I think he may not have practiced enough in the run-up to this race here. Oh, very wide into turn 1 as well.
Yeah, and then you got the whole pressure of us watching you. That's not going to help Zenki whatsoever as he now makes his way through the S section. Welcome along if you've just joined the stream. Oh, Zenki's missed it completely there. Oh, he's really struggling, either with the setup or with the car. He's just not happy out there.
Yeah, that was a huge one right there. And to be fair, he's lucky he hasn't completely... And there he goes again. He's twice lucky now that he hasn't put his car into the wall. I mean, he still has a chance to qualify here. Obviously not on this lap, but something just doesn't seem right.
No, something's not clicking on that car. Yeah, I was... before Zenki interrupted me by being a slight bit out of control. Welcome along everyone to the stream. Remember, we do have 4 drivers in the running for the championship, separated by I think 30 odd points if I have a look at the standings.
Yeah, 37.
It's all separated by 37 points, 1st to 4th, so quite close as we head towards the final 3 races of the season. Don't forget as well, next race we will be at Sao Paulo, the Brazilian Grand Prix. Then the week after that we wrap it all up at Abu Dhabi, and we'll see if the title could go all the way to the final race. It looks like it's going to, because the gap between Johan and Aero, 11 points, 179 for Johan to Aero's 168. Oh, Zenki here is having an absolute nightmare here in qualifying.
Yeah, that is one of the worst things that can happen to you, that you miss the pit entry. There's not that many tracks where the pit entry can be a bit tricky. This is kind of one of them. Because if you miss your braking point, it's really easy to just slide wide and just keep straight on, and either put it into the wall or, you know, just slide on to the start finish straight. And that's what happened here to Zenki. I mean, he didn't slide onto the start finish straight, but he almost put it into the wall and had to back up and then turn around a little bit to get into the pit lane. I don't know what's going on with him, but he seems to be really, really struggling, and yeah, something's not right. I don't know if it's the setup or if it's something else. I have no idea.
Well, Pit Matt's making his way around the final corner, onwards now to start a flying lap here in the Williams, and unfortunately for him, he's had a good run of form recently, actually. If I have a look at Pit Matt, okay, he didn't finish last race, but at Japan he finished in 6th place. You know, Russia finished in 5th. A couple of 5th place on the boards, in fact a couple of 5th and 8th places on the board. It seems to be his favoured position, 5th place here in the championship, and for him, 86 points behind, he doesn't really have a shot of getting this championship anymore, because as Austin said, there's 78 points left to score. He's 86 points behind, he's out of the championship ranking, but he can still get himself up the order. Just because he's out of the title hunt, he's still in the hunt for 2nd place, still in the hunt for 3rd. He could still get some healthy points to get him up the table.
Yeah, well, he is mathematically in the hunt for 2nd place, but the gap to 2nd place for him is 75 points, so what would need to happen for Pit Matt is that he needs to win all 3 races. Benidorm via Aero can basically score a total of 2 points if Pit Matt gets all 3 fastest laps, and that's about it. So considering Pit Matt's previous results, I would say he's in the hunt for 5th place. If Iamotti keeps missing the races, then there's a good chance that Pit Matt gets up to 5th place. But for Pit Matt, I think it's more about securing the 6th place, because right behind him is really, really close. Pedro just 1 point behind him. Pit Matt at 93, Pedro at 92, and then 1 place behind them is Gabri at 91. So they're really, really close there, battling for P6 in the standings, maybe with Iamotti missing this race as well. And maybe even the other 2 coming up. 5th place for all 3 of them is on the cards. The question is, who is going to have the best final 3 races?
Yeah, lots of drivers I'm noticing getting the track limits all wrong at the penultimate corner. Seems like if you just stray just a slight fraction too far to the right hand side and you put all 4 wheels off the track, that's it, your lap time is invalidated, whether you gain time there or not. It's pretty strict around that penultimate corner, and the drivers are learning that the hard way.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, that's really the only way they are going to learn. As a former driver myself, on this game and many others, the only way you really learn to obey the track limits is if you get penalized for it heavily. And that's what happens in qualifying here. They do get their lap times invalidated if they do cross the track limits. And in the race, as you know, the warning system, 2 warnings are free, the 3rd one gives you a 3-second time penalty, and that cycle continues over and over until, I think, the 10th 3-second time penalty is automatically a disqualification as well.
Yeah, of course, that's in the race. We're riding on board with Zenki now, and oh, that back end's going. He's kept it under control here. That is not a happy car at this track, as he now climbs his way up the hill through turn 8 and through turn 9. It's very, very twitchy, Austin, as he heads through 10, down the hill towards turn 11. Meanwhile, 5 minutes to go here in the AOR Hype Energy F3 League here on the PS4. Chiquita is on provisional pole position with a 131.3. Grisman in second, 134.4. Slimbo third, 131.495 compared to Grisman's 409. Pedro 131.6 in fourth. Table Clan in fifth, 132 flat. Pitmat 6th place, 132.1. Johan 7th place, 133.5, but his best lap time is on the hard tyres. Alex Musica 133.6, his best on a set of the mediums. Yoka 134.8, and we're yet to see lap times from Aero, Jamie James, Zenki, who are watching here tackle this right-hander. I'm worrying here what this car is going to do. It's a lot more stable through there than I thought it was going to be, and of course Swedish Dynamite not in the session yet, and Zenki's completely missed the braking point for turn 19 and once again has to come back to the pit. It's not clicking for him. It really isn't, and of course now that he's been out there, he's stuck with that setup, Austin.
Yeah, once you do leave the pit lane, the setup locks. It's in park ferme and you have no way of changing it anymore. And yeah, that might hurt. Maybe he loaded the wrong setup. That could be the reason why he's struggling so much. That he loaded the wrong setup, and now he's stuck with it really, and can't change it at all, which would be a huge blow to his chances. And looking back at his season, he joined the F3 League here in Hungary and instantly got a 5th place and 10 points. Since then...
Oh, Alex Musica! Sorry, Austin. Alex Musica had a big moment there at turn 8. Lost the back end completely, and into the wall on the left-hand side he goes. Just front wing damage. He was very lucky there not to lose a wheel, but he'll carry on, and he'll try and struggle his way back to the pit lane. Got to be fine margins, though, to get that car ready if he's going to go for another run.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. Repairing the front wing in time... He really needs to get to the pits quickly now. Otherwise, he's pretty much out of contention for this qualifying. Getting back to Zenki once more. Again, 5th place in Hungary at his debut in the league. And then 4 DNFs with 2 races missed at Singapore and Mexico last week. The 2 he wasn't able to make, but the other 4 races, Spa, Italy, Russia, and Japan, all DNFs, and I think he needs to break that streak. But if he has, as Alex Musica now into the gravel trap there, if Zenki has the wrong setup loaded, it's going to be a hard time for him to break that streak of 4 DNFs.
It is going to be tough, but not impossible, as we've seen here. Johan we're riding aboard with currently on the medium tyres. He set his best lap time on the hards. It's a 33.5, so looking at this lap, it should be in the mid 132s, I would think. Johan still locking up, though, in towards the left-hander of 15 there. Onwards now, he'll go towards 16, 17 and 18 now. Be careful of those track limits. They are very harsh at this track. Now heading towards turn 19. Oh, just about misses the apex. Very easy to do. Keeps it all together, but he'll have to go again. That will have invalidated his lap. I fall into that trap. It's so easy to do, to miss your braking point and carry too much speed into 19.
Yeah, it happens on a lot of corners here, but 19 especially, it is quite a deceptive corner as well. Hard to see because it is over just a slight crest. It's not too much, but there's a little undulation there. That just makes it so hard to see where you're going and so hard to gauge where you're actually trying to be and trying to put the car. So it's a really tough one there, turn 19, and the track limits are just very unforgiving as well.
Yeah, you can say that again. I've raced here plenty of times and fallen foul of the track limits multiple times too. Grisman here, meanwhile, making his way now in towards turn 15. Onwards he'll go towards the, well, it's a triple right-hander according to the quarter numbers, through 16, 17 and through turn 18. Onwards now towards the double left-hander of 19, then towards turn 20. As you go downhill, then you ascend towards turn 20. Coming around the final corner, he's actually backed out. I wonder if he's going to go for another run. He's not. He's now turned it up. There we go. As he now makes way towards the line.
The very unfortunate thing that happened to him is that he invalidated his lap in this infamous, now pretty much infamous because of us talking about it the whole time, infamous turn 19. He cut the inside, you know, he ran over the curb a little bit too much on the inside and just cut the corner too much, therefore invalidating his lap very late, and so he had to back off quickly to at least regain some energy and run again, and he's doing that now, where he may actually run out of energy towards the end of the lap.
Well, coming now, we've got the checkered flag out. Chiquita went faster, 134.1. Pitmat was up to 3rd place until Table Clan took his place, 31.455 compared to Pitmat's 31.475. We've got Slimbo, who's out there making his way now through in towards turn 15 and now going through the gears, up them towards 16, 17 and 18. Full throttle through here. You've got to position the car at the absolute optimum place here. Now coming down towards turn 19. Very easy to to get the track limits here. Looks good to me as he now makes his way towards turn 20. That glare off the curb makes that corner so difficult. Now heading his way towards the line, and it is a 131.3. But it was invalidated then, so no improvement then from Slimbo. So all that's left now is Aero, Zenki and Krisman, but Krisman's backed out of his lap. What about Aero? What's he going to do? P9 for the Toro Rosso on the medium tyres, and Zenki makes his way towards the line, puts a lap time on the board to 134.5 on a set of those soft tyres. But pole position then goes to Chiquita in the Mercedes. A great performance for him.
Yeah, very, very well done. It is, we have to say, not his first pole position. In his fourth race here in the F3, his second pole position. His first came 2 weeks ago at the Japanese Grand Prix, and now he does it again. So, really, really good start for him into the new year. Second pole position in 3 races, and the other race that we had in 2020, Mexico, last week, remember, he started second on the grid, so qualifying Jaquita, he's pretty much unstoppable. Now, he just needs to translate it into the race.
So then your results from qualifying are as it says there. Jaquita on pole position with Krisman in second place, Table Clan in third with Pitmat in fourth, Slimbo in fifth with Pedro in sixth, Yoka in seventh with Yoan in eighth, Aero ninth, and Alex Musica rounds out the top 10. Zenki 11th, Jamie James didn't set a time, and I'm not sure about Swedish Dynamite. I haven't seen him rejoin the session, so we might have a DNS on our hands. But what's going to worry the two title rivals at the moment, two of the championship leaders, Yoan in 8th place, championship leader, Aero in second place in the championship. This is a chance for the guys behind him in the championship to get some ground on them. Table Clan and Krisman high up the order.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you right now, if someone tried to script the championship, this is how you would do it. You would put Marco Krisman near the front, Table Clan also, and then you put the two championship leaders, Johan and Benidorm or Aero, near the back of the grid. However, you would also put them on different tires. You would put those two, Johan and Aero, on the mediums. Maybe, just maybe, giving them a strategical advantage in the race. We'll have to wait and see what the strategy is going to be for those drivers. But I'm just going to say this much, the medium might give them an edge.
Well, I mean, we're going to have to wait and see. You'll find out along with us here at the Circuit of the Americas for the United States Grand Prix, and we're going to make our way towards the grid here then, and it is a Mercedes of Jaquita on pole position, Krisman in second and Table Clan in third. But of course, it is going to be a very awkward first corner here, Austin. It's very wide on the entry, but as you see as we head on towards the exit, it really does narrow down, and you normally see 3 or 4 wide into turn 1. It never normally ends well if it's like that through turn 2.
Yeah, on this track especially here, it just, again, it's one of these deceptive corners. It just opens up so wide, then narrows down. It opens up the possibility of sending one down the inside, but not always to your advantage, and you might end up banging wheels, or worst case scenario, losing a front wing or even losing a wheel on another car, and ending your race basically there. So the drivers are best advised to take it into turn 1 calmly and make sure, what was the saying again, you don't win a race in turn 1, but you can certainly lose it.
Yeah, rule number 2. Rule number 1, of course, being never crash into your teammate. Yeah, you can't win the race on the first lap at the first corner, but you can definitely dent your chances and possibly lose the race entirely. Of course, Jaquita on pole position will be looking to try and defend that position in towards turn 1. He starts on the right hand side, so he's got the outside of the corner, but theoretically he's got the racing line, so in theory he should have better traction off the line and towards turn 1. Big shout out to everyone who's watching along to us and with us tonight here for the AOR Hype Energy F3 League on the PS4. You've chosen the right place, really. really, because we've got 4 title rivals here ready to battle it out here at the Circuit of the Americas. Let us know who you think is going to win here tonight. Let us know who you're supporting. We've got plenty of fans for Marco Krisman in the chat tonight, but let's see if he can convert his front row start to a race win. But with Jaquita making his way now on towards the start line and on towards his grid position, we are moments away from the United States Grand Prix here on the PS4. The Hype Energy F3 League here in the Apex Online Racing League is moments away. I really cannot wait for this one. We've got 2 championship rivals, 3rd and 4th, starting 2nd and 3rd. The 2 leaders in the championship starting 8th and 9th. You really couldn't write this as we now ride on board with Jaquita, waiting for those red lights to start igniting. And now here, 5 red lights. We are underway, and what are the starts like? It's a really good start there from Jaquita, a really good start as well from Marco Krisman, and look at Pitman in the background here, looking down the inside to try and launch one up the inside of the Renault. Look at that then, Krisman trying to go 3 wide with Jaquita on his right. Table Clan there is looking to try and take advantage as well, but he can't quite do it now as they filter their way through in toward the S's there. It looks like, oh, there's a Ferrari around. Jamie James is around and out of the American Grand Prix, and such a shame he got a whack there as he headed through turn 2 there. Not quite sure who gave him the whack, but it sent him flying off onto the right hand side of our screens and sent him out of the race. So already we're down a Ferrari here in the United States, but Krisman has taken the lead here at the Circuit of the Americas, riding on board now with the McLaren of Johan as he's getting mugged here. Aero and Zenki have taken full advantage. Meanwhile, Table Clan and Pedro, the Alfa Romeo and the Mercedes, going side by side now as they make their way down towards the braking zone at turn 12. You can see that the Alfa Romeo is trying to hold off now, and the Mercedes couldn't quite find a way through. But Table Clan up to 5th place, where he's from the start, or I should say down from down to 5th place. He's not been a great start for him, but of course there's plenty of the race to go. Meanwhile, Aero then in 8th place, pretty much stayed where he is, and Johan has gone down the order, down to 10th place. I've got myself confused because there's a McLaren who went very wide there through turn 12, or sorry, turn 15, 16, 17 and 18, and he's back right off here trying to get back to the pit lane. Now he's got a 5-second stop-go penalty. He had a 3-second for cutting the corner, or so it seemed on the race director there. It's all gone horribly wrong for that McLaren, but at the end of a very hectic first lap, it is Krisman who leads, with Jaquita in 2nd, Pitmat 3rd, Pedro 4th, Table Clan in 5th, Slimbo in 6th, Zenki up to 7th from the back of the grid. A great start from him considering the twitchy car. Aero in 8th, Johan 9th, Jokka in 10th, Swedish Dynamite in 11th, and Alex Musica currently in 12th in the pit lane. Austin, take this mic away from me or you'll never get it. Zenki! Zenki is out! I just said about the twitchy car. Looked okay, but he's completely lost it on the entrance into turn 9. The back end just completely went on him, and out of the race Zenki goes. It was a very twitchy car. I was surprised it was going to make it without crashing into the wall at least once, and there it is. There's the accident there, and I'll hand back to you, Austin, because I completely cut over you.
That's all right. You know, it's the 5th DNF now in a row for Zenki, and again, I still think he probably loaded the wrong setup. 2 things to mention here, however. Alex Musica went into the pits because he lost part of his front wing in turn 1 already. There was debris there. I saw it happening, which is why I couldn't catch the crash of Jamie James, because I was trying to see whose debris it was. I wasn't sure. And so I was switching through the field frantically trying to find whose front wing got lost there, and it was Alex Musica in the end. And the second thing, last time Jaquita was on pole position, guess who won? That's right, the guy who's in the lead right now, Marco Krisman. That was 2 weeks ago in Japan. He's looking to do it again.
Well, the odds are in his favour right now, but there's the stats and then there's the track. Anything could happen here. We've already had 2 retirements, all both pretty much in the first couple of laps, the first handful of laps in this race. We're down to 11 in this race, and meanwhile Johan is in 7th place, Aero is in 8th, and they had a good scrap going into turn 12 and 13 there. Johan has got a nose ahead. He stays ahead of the Toro Rosso. Meanwhile, Pedro here's looking for a move down the inside of Pitmat, then in towards the braking zone at turn 11. He's got the move done, but Pitmat here might have the better exit and the better traction out of the corner. Up ahead, you can see Crisman there trying to really break the slipstream against Jaquita. Look at Pedro, though. He's got the DRS and is able to defend with it. He waited for that moment to go as late as possible down the inside so that he had the DRS. That was exactly in his game plan, and he holds on to third place.
Yeah, strategically well done here. The detection zone for the DRS is basically in the braking zone, or just before the braking zone, really, of turn 11. So if you go for a late lunge there, you put yourself at an advantage because you will have the DRS to then defend the position you just gained in that corner. So very, very well done for Pedro. We've seen him pull off these veteran moves, these very, very smart moves, time and time again, and he does so once more right here.
Yeah, that is Swedish Dynamite now ahead of Jocko as he moves now into 9th place. Bear in mind though, Johan, Aero and Swedish Dynamite all on the medium tyres, with Johan and Aero starting on their U set of medium, so they're looking to go longer into the race. So they may be 3.4 seconds behind Slimbo, but the both of them are pretty much in clear air. They've only got each other to worry about, and I think in essence, obviously they're championship rivals, but there's a sense that if I battle you, we're both going to lose time.
Yeah, at least let's hope that sense exists. I think the two are experienced enough to think that way. But I've seen drivers before where they're in this kind of situation, maybe they've never been there before, and so they just start battling because they looked at the standings, they saw, oh no, that person is right behind me or right in front of me. I need to battle them, not thinking about the bigger picture here. For them, it's really right now about just losing as little time as possible, and that does include not fighting.
Yeah, but I know you and I, Austin, both have been there. You've been on the track. You know you shouldn't battle that car ahead. But, oh, no, you are anyway. Oh, no, that's terrible. You're losing so much time. But in the end, you just want to get past. You're a racer after all. That's exactly what will be going on inside their head. So it's easy for us to say, well, you shouldn't battle them. But when you've got a car ahead of you, you know you're slightly quicker than, it's frustrating. You just want to get through.
See, you say that. I've always been more of the cerebral kind of type.
No, of course you are. Yeah. All right.
I mean, come on. I'm the guy with all the numbers, okay? Of course I'm the cerebral kind of guy. I'm the guy who's going, you know what? I lose less time if I just work with him instead of against him. And I never had too much issue doing that. In fact, sometimes, I have to say, sometimes I've been too timid to attack. That's something that I would say about myself, but I've never been the kind of guy to battle when it wasn't smart to do so. I've always been the kind of guy to not battle when it should have been on, when I should have been.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm similar, but even still, you know, you're a racer. You battle all the positions on the track if you really wanted to. But yeah, I mean, Slimbo here we're riding on board with. He's behind Tableclad, and Tableclad here 5th place. I mean, it wasn't a great start from him. Of course, he started in 3rd place down to 5th. But of course, there's still plenty of this race to go. There's still the pit stops to go. But he won't like this sight with Crisman leading the way.
Yeah, that's the one thing that he really isn't going to like. If he looks at the standings right now, sees Johan in 7, Aero in 8, he should be smiling. But then he sees Crisman in P1, and that smile is gone in an instant. But as you said, there's still plenty of time left. We still have another 23 laps to go here. We have pit stops to go. And yeah, I think there's still a good chance. The only thing Tableclan really has to do is, I think he needs to, we talked about, you know, when should you battle, when shouldn't you battle. I think he needs to get past Pipmat, because I think we already see the Pipmat is really struggling to keep up with the top 3 here. The gap is over a second and it's growing. So Tableclan needs to get ahead of him, dispose of the Williams, and try to catch back up with the top 3 here. Catch back up with Pedro in the Alfa Romeo, and then just follow them along for the ride.
Yeah, but of course, there's one thing, seeing the car ahead and thinking, yeah, I'm going to overtake him. It's a completely different issue, actually getting past the car. We saw Table Clan here trying to take a tighter line in towards turn 11 there. Now, will Pitmat have some DRS? He won't. This time, Table Clan does. So he's now in the slipstream as we make our way now down towards turn 12. Surely he's going to have the move here. Moves to the left-hand side of the track. Heading now down towards turn 12. He's got the inside line. Locks up majorly, but he's got that position. Will Pitmat try again? No, he backs out of it. And so Table Clan takes 4th place away. Meanwhile, Aero's now going up the inside at turn 13. Through 14 we go. And Aero now has the position against Johan. He tries to defend the inside of turn 15. So Johan will have the better exit, but he's really got nowhere to put the car through the triple right-hander here of 16, 17 and 18. In fact, he has to back out because he loses that little bit of grip there, being in the dirty air through 19 and then towards turn 20. As we see, Pedro has come into the pits then on lap number 6 to pit in for a fresh set of tyres. Now, I'm thinking then, Austin, that's surely got to be hard tyres to get to the end, but mediums are ready.
Yeah, we'll see what's going on there. It is medium, so this is a 2-stop at this point. There's no other way to explain this one. This is going to be a 2-stop. Let's expect him again into the pits at lap 17. I think that's the sensible call here, really. If he does come in at the end of lap 6 now, which it was, yeah, lap 17 again, and then 2 11-lap stints on the mediums.
Well, Yoka has also come in. He's put on the set of hard tyres, so he's wanting to go to the end of the race. Is it possible to go to the end of the race on hard tyres at this point, Austin?
It is possible, but from the softs, and right now, 22 laps, ooh, very, very tough. He's going to struggle towards the end, and we'll see. It could be that he's just really, really good with tyre wear on the hards. That's certainly an option. But it could also be that he's going soft, hard, soft 2-stop and he wants to get the fastest lap at the end of the race. That is also an option.
Well, we just saw there Pitmat with some DRS down towards turn 11, or sorry, turn 12 that is, getting the move done on the Mercedes. So Table Clan finds himself back down to 4th place. So he'll have to work hard to get that position back. But Pitmat runs wide on the exit of turn 19 here. That'll encourage Table Clan, but he's got Slimbo for close company. Jaquita is now into the pit lane. Let's ride aboard with Table Clan as he looks to try and get into the slipstream of Pitmat there. The Ferrari has dropped back a little bit. Table Clan looks for it. He thinks about it. He launches it up the inside at turn 1 and gets the inside, gets the corner and gets the position. Table Clan now up to 2nd place. He used that advantage of the wide entrance into turn 1 to just launch it down the inside. He's got the move done.
Yeah, meanwhile, Jaquita comes back out of the pits, also on the medium, so for him it's also a 2-stop. Expect him either lap 17 or lap 18, probably lap 17 as well. You rather have, if you have 2 stints on the same tire compound, you'd rather have the slightly longer stint towards the end when the car is not as heavy as it is right now. So expect him to be coming into the pits lap 17 as well, same time as Pedro, but he rejoins the track over a second, just over a second behind Pedro. So Jaquita certainly lost here and Pedro made the undercut work quite well.
Well, Aero's got the move done there on Slimbo in towards turn 12. He almost chipped his front wing on the diffuser there of Pitmat, but no worries, he's in full control here. And these medium tyres, it seems like the Delta is on their side, on the yellow wall tyres right now.
I mean, the fresh yellows, or the fresh mediums are certainly better, but even the used mediums now should have an advantage with the soft just falling off. And you can see now everyone, all the soft runners, peeling off into the pits one by one. And again, expect all of them to come into the pits lap 18 again for another set of mediums as they all go on to a 2-stop. Do we have one who goes on? Well, Pitmat is the last one because he's in the Williams. Took him so long to get down the pit lane. But there he is, yeah. Expect all of them to come in once again lap 18.
Ooh, Crispin and Table Clan are going to go side by side now in towards turn 2, and Table Clan, oh sorry, that's Jaquita, who just about gets ahead of the Renault there. He played that fine. There wasn't a lot of space, but fair play to Chiquita. He's got the move done and moves ahead of Marco Krisman there. The undercut worked for the Mercedes, and he now takes over as the lead car. But of course, Aero, Johan, Swedish Dynamite.
No. Pedro is the lead car. Pedro's 2-lap undercut was even stronger than Chiquita's 1-lap undercut, and he is now the net leader. Incredibly, he had 1.5 seconds of a gap to Marco Krisman before the pit stop, and now look at where he is now. He's over 2 seconds ahead of the Renault. That's how much the fresh mediums are faster than those softs. 3.5 seconds over the span of 2 laps.
Yeah, and I'm just getting caught up in the action. That's all that's happening, Austin. Just getting carried away. Meanwhile, Pitmat behind Table Clan now after those pit stops. Slimbo is keeping them close company as well. As so Chiquita's moved ahead of Marco Krisman, of course, as Pedro's got ahead of both of them. So yet to stop in this race, Aero, Johan and Swedish Dynamite. We should expect them in around a couple of laps time, maybe 3 or 4 laps time. Would you say, Austin? Is that a fair assessment?
I think it depends on what they're gonna do. If they want to run a 1-stop, which I think is the best way to do it, because they did qualify on the mediums inside the top 10. If they qualified outside the top 10 and went on the mediums, I would say it might be a 2-stop as well, but starting on the mediums. But with them qualifying inside the top 10 on the mediums, I think this is going to be a 1-stop medium to hard, and then we can expect them around, I would say, 2 to 3 laps, not 3 to 4. I think 4 is too much, but 2 to 3 laps. So expect them sooner rather than later.
So Aero's leading the way then, 1.1 ahead of Johan, and these are your two real championship rivals. Johan is 11 points ahead of Aero in the championship, and of course they're both yet to stop in this race. Swedish Dynamite meanwhile had connection issues in qualifying, currently in 3rd place, 3.6 behind Johan, as Slimbo here is looking right on the back of Pitmat. Pitmat also trying to find a way past Table Clan once again, and going down towards turn 12. Neither of them, or none of them I should say, looked just quite close enough to have a go.
Yeah, and I'm looking at Johan right now. He might be coming in at the end of this lap, in fact. He does have the green... no, he does not come in. He does have the black wrench in a green square, which indicates that his pit crew is ready for him, but he decides to still stay out. Swedish Dynamite also now in his pit window, but that doesn't mean he's going to come in just now. One of these things that you need to know about this pit window is that part of it is that the drivers set it a bit early, and then on track, if they have some kind of battle or, you know, they have some kind of other calculation getting into this, they can still say, you know what, we're going to hold off the pit stop for 1 more lap or 2 more laps or whatever, and, you know, delay it for a little bit. And I think this is what's going on here with Johan, maybe with Swedish Dynamite as well. His indicator just lit up as he came across the line.
Yeah, of course, it's a little bit arbitrary because it tells you their plan A, but of course they could be running plan Z at that point. You never really know, so it gives us an idea of when they were supposed to be pitting, but not really an idea of when they're pitting, if you get what I mean. Answer on a postcard if you have any idea what I'm talking about. But anyway, lap 11 of this race then. Aero leads the way from Johan in 2nd, Swedish Dynamite in 3rd, with Pedro in 4th. Chiquita there currently trying to chase down Pedro. He's really closed in on him. He has the fastest lap of the race at this moment in time. He's just really been doing the job of closing down on Pedro. Krisman just hasn't been able to keep up with the Mercedes at the moment, and Pedro here has fallen into the clutches of the Mercedes of Chiquita as they make their way now through 16, 17 and 18 on towards turn 19 and then towards 20 here. Be very careful on that exit of 19 not to run too wide. In towards 20 they go, and of course Chiquita will have the DRS on Pedro as they make their way over the start finish line. Another fastest lap of the race from Chiquita. He's really on it today as he looks to try and close in on the Alfa Romeo, but a little bit too far back to try anything just yet. But at the rate he's going, he's quicker than Pedro at this moment in time, about 3 or 4 tenths quicker on that lap alone to be able to close into just under half a second.
Chiquita really putting the mediums here to good use. The 1 lap fresher mediums than Pedro. I wouldn't have thought that this one lap makes such a difference, but maybe it does. Or maybe it's just Jackita's pace. I mean, we've seen him in qualifying. Maybe he's just doing some qualifying laps, but on a different tire compound. I don't know. But he really has some pace here. He's really looking feisty. No chance to overtake you just yet against Pedro, but I don't think he's looking for that just yet. There's still plenty of time left, and another pit stop for these drivers as well. Don't forget that. Everyone on track apart from possibly Yucca the Gamer in P10 still has to come in one more time.
Yeah, of course. Austin reckons they won't make it to the end, but we've been proven wrong before, Austin, but you're pretty sure about that one, it seems.
I am very sure about this one.
All right, well, the ball's in your court then. Jackita then still closing in on Pedro ahead of him, but of course when you've got that car ahead of you, you can't quite make the move. Yes, you're fast down the straights, but through the corners you will start to struggle. They've got Swedish Dynamite ahead of them as well, as they both start to close on him. Gradually now, 1.7 is the gap between Swedish Dynamite and Pedro. That was about 2.1 seconds on the last lap. Aero managing to pull a 2-second gap to Johan behind him. So Jackita now riding on board with him as he heads through this S section now, all the way now in towards turn 6. Through turn 7 we go, onwards towards turn 8, and you can see they're very quickly now closing in on Swedish Dynamite. Maybe those medium tyres are starting to not feel their best, and heading down the hill towards turn 11, and Jackita looks a lot closer than he was last time out, or last time around. And Jackita's now got to focus on the exit, and Pedro won't have DRS this time around, but Jackita can't wait much longer because Pedro could have DRS on the next lap if Swedish Dynamite doesn't pit. He's closing and he's gaining at a rate of knots here as he heads now down towards turn 12. Pedro goes down the inside to try and defend. Jackita sticks it up the inside anyway and makes the move stick. Pedro defended as late as he possibly could. That did not put off Jackita, who stuck it up the inside anyway, and up to P4 he goes. Great move from the Mercedes.
Yeah, from Pedro, just a little bit too hesitant there. He goes to the inside, but then doesn't fully cover the inside, and Jackita just goes a little bit further. First, Jackita was thinking about going to the outside again, seeing Pedro move, but then he says, you know what, no. I'm going to go to the inside because I want to go to the inside. Just chucks it up and is as late on the brakes as he possibly can be, and gets the position. And those three medium runners at the very front right now, Aero, Johan, and Swedish Dynamite, they do go longer into this race than I would have expected. I'm going to say this about Johan right now. He's losing a lot of time to Aero. Last lap, over half a second slower than Aero. I think his tires are already falling off a little bit of a cliff here, and I think he's already too late to switch tires. I don't know what he's trying to do here, but this doesn't seem like a proper strategy. This is madness right now. He's losing so much time to a driver who's on the same tire and who he was able to stick with for so long in this race, and now he's just falling off half a second a lap, and this gap could further increase more than half a second a lap. It could be, well, depending on this third sector.
Pedro launches it down the inside. Jackita sees him coming there. He's still there on the outside. He'll have the inside this time around for turn 13. Pedro will have to go the long way around. Now we'll have the inside of 14 and then the inside of turn 15. But the Mercedes will try and a switch back here. They've got Swedish Dynamite right ahead of them here. They're going to go side by side into the triple right-hander. Who's going to come out on top then with Jackita? Around the outside he goes and makes it stick there in towards turn 19. Jackita holds on. Very, very good defending then. Really good battling between the two of them. And Jackita into the final corner. Holds firm. He's got DRS, so he's got a bit to defend with as he heads now up the hill towards turn 1. But Pedro here's looking for that inside move. Surely, will he try and move for it? Yes, he will. He sends it up the inside. In towards turn number 1 we go. And he's got the position this time around. In towards the heavy braking zone. Brake later. Went straight for the apex of the corner and wasn't giving it up to Jackita whatsoever. Alfa Romeo back ahead of the Mercedes.
And I'll tell you what, Kieran, this whole section of corners from turn 12 all the way to turn 18 might be the best section of corners in all of motorsport. the fact that it gives us this kind of battling, and it's by design. That's the beautiful thing. All these corners are designed to give us this kind of battling, that you can hold it round the outside of turn 13, that you can chuck it up the inside of turn 15, that you can then pull a switch bag for turn 16, 17, 18, where you then pull it around the outside. It's absolutely beautiful as Pedro goes past Swedish Dynamite here, and now Jack Ita also chucks it up the inside of the Haas, the hometown car here, or home country car rather. And 2 positions lost here for Swedish Dynamite, as he also seems to struggle a little bit with his connection. But yeah, that was quick disposal here for Pedro and Jackie Ita, and Marco Christmas is going to be next, but Swedish Dynamite might be coming into the pits here. And Johan does come into the pits. Lap 15.
All I was going to say was Johan pits, but Aero doesn't. So I wonder what's going on there, because now he's really past that halfway mark. Surely he's not going to go mediums to softs. Surely not.
Johan is. 13 laps on the softs. There's no way.
That's going to be
tricky. There is absolutely no way.
Swedish
Unless
Dynamite.
he goes...
Sorry,
unless he goes medium, soft.
Oh, never mind. Well, I thought Swedish Dynamite was around there, but played a trick on me. Sorry about that.
Yeah, he is struggling with his connection, it seems. But Johan, unless he goes medium, soft, I don't see a way for him to take these softs for 13 laps around this track, even with the low fuel that he has now for the second half of the race. I just don't see it. I think he's taken these mediums too long. Swedish Dynamite now leaves the session. That is the connection once again, as Jackie Ita and Pedro fight it out once again.
It's incredible between these two so far, but Pedro's holding firm, and they basically switched lines they were taking both at the same time down in towards turn 12 there. Somehow didn't come together, but still great racing from the two of them as they now make their way through the triple right-hander, as Jaquita opts to back out, lift off the throttle halfway through the corner, or maybe even before halfway through the corner, to try and get some grip down in towards the turn 19 apex. As we see Aero come into the pit, so this will surely be a set of the soft tyres for the Toro Rosso. Obviously, a lot of testing is done when it comes to strategy in these circumstances, Austin, and they obviously think the mediums to softs is the best strategy.
Yeah, I am quite surprised, I have to say. I thought the hards were going to be used a bit more here, but apparently not. Other than Yucca the Gamer, I'm surprised, I have to say. I'm wondering whether all these drivers are going to take these mediums to the end now, other than obviously Swedish Dynamite. But for Pedro, that would be 22 laps. Yeah, he came in lap 6. 22 laps on those mediums. I just don't see it. But I don't know, maybe they saw something in practice that I didn't. That's very well possible. Maybe they're better tyre wear than I am. That's very well possible, in fact. But I tried to recreate as much as possible, and I didn't see that on the cards.
Yeah, Austin does a lot of homework here, and this is something that is just totally boggles the mind, especially for Austin. But obviously, these drivers are just basically saying to you, Austin, you can do all your hard work, but this is the strategy. And also, there could be the option, Austin, that the track is obviously different when you test it than when these drivers are testing it, and to the actual race itself, that the track could be in a better condition. You don't really know until you get there.
It could be, but I do try, with my testing, I do try to test multiple scenarios. I do try to test hotter or warmer temperatures when it's sunny and clear skies. I do try to test overcast conditions when it's a little bit colder and try to see if there's any difference, obviously. But both times I thought soft to medium was not going to be a good strategy, but apparently, well, these drivers think differently, and maybe they're the ones who are right at the end of the day.
We've still got 11 laps to go and anything could happen here. Meanwhile, we're on board with Aero, who's on the soft tyres right behind Slimbo. He knows now that positions need to be gained as he makes his way through turn 10 down towards turn 11. We're just going to cut on board with Chiquita because this one is going to be a great one. Pedro, no DRS. Chiquita with the DRS now closing with the slipstream added as well. Pedro defends the inside. Chiquita still finds that gap up the inside in towards turn 12 there. The Alfa Romeo is going to go side by side with him on the exit up the inside of turn 13. No, Chiquita manages to cover him off for now. He gets the better traction out of turn 14 there into 15 and the Alfa Romeo is stuck it up the inside in towards 15 and takes that position back. Great racing between the two of them.
Absolutely fantastic, and once again, this is all by design of this track. It's just so beautiful. I just love to see it every single time. Pedro and Chiquita just really giving us something for the money we haven't paid, really.
Yeah, we're just freeloaders, it's fine.
I have to say though, I'm wondering it doesn't make sense to fight this much right now. There's still 10 laps left to go, and you've got Marco. Go ahead.
Sorry there, Aero's just completely sent out the inside of Pitmat there on the soft tyres. So much confidence on the brakes. He's got the move done now. He moves up to 5th place. Carry on, Austin. I seem to be cutting you off a lot in this race.
It's because there's a lot going on in this race. Yeah, but Pedro and Chiquita, I don't think fighting this early is a good idea. The way they're battling, and they showed that they can overtake each other. It's not that hard. The DRS zone here is very powerful. This one that they're in right now, the Chiquita's in right now. And with Marco Krisman only 1.5 to 2 seconds behind this duo, I have to question this whole battling. Through this stage of the race, you're losing time and you're inviting a third driver into this battle.
Well, I'm sure they're having fun, Austin, but that's for sure. But because both of them aren't in the championship hunt, they're just having fun out here, Austin, I think. And between the two of them, they put on a great show. Grisman there is in 3rd place, so he's the first of the 4 that could win the championship heading into the last 3 races here. Aero is in 4th place, Table Clan in 5th, but Johan is still down there in 8th place with those soft tyres. He's got to make use of them.
Yeah, but I mean, look at the gap from Pedro, the leader, to Johan. It's 8.5 seconds. So there's still a lot of time and a lot of positions to be gained on the softs right now.
9.
But again, the question is whether these softs are going to last that long. I mean, 13 laps, 12 laps, it's... I still don't see it. We saw the cars at the very start of the race go into the pits at 6, 7, 8 laps, and obviously we've seen those that came in after lap 8, at the end of lap 8, they've been struggling and they lost so much time to the medium runners. So I don't know if 13 laps are going to be a good call on those Red Bull tires.
Here comes Chiquita once again, looking for a move down the inside at turn 12, locks up the front brakes there, still trying to move it up the inside. Pedro onto the curb, and Chiquita blocks off turn 13, but he locks up. Now Pedro will try and move down the inside at 14. He'll be on the outside, though, of turn 15 as they enter here. He goes purposely wide to try and get the better traction out of turn 15, but again, through turn 16, 17 and 18, it's very difficult if you haven't got the run already to get alongside the car ahead. So Chiquita has held on there, but here comes Krisman now, only 9 tenths behind Pedro. He could be within DRS range. I don't think he is this time. He just strayed over 1 second there, but no, he does have the DRS down the main straight. Here comes Pedro though, up the hill we go. He's still in overtake mode with the ERS. He goes for it now up the inside, in towards turn 1. They almost come together there, but Pedro couldn't slow the car down in time, and Chiquita holds on. Wow, this is getting feisty now.
Yeah, and again, I think it's way too early because now Marco Krisman is on their tails. And he's not the only one. Look at Aero. He's just over a second away from Marco Krisman and on faster tires. This could be a four-way battle for the win here. with two championship contenders, Marco Krisman and Viatiero. Table Clan, I don't think he's going to play a role in this one. Johan, he may have a shot if he gets through the field quickly, but it doesn't seem that way. But this is really, really exciting. If I could give Pedro some advice, be more aggressive when you defend the inside. Always, always, always he leaves just enough on the inside when he tries to defend the inside. He doesn't commit. He doesn't go to the line. He doesn't go to the track limit. Just hug the inside, and then Jack Eater can't take you down the inside and take the position away from you. Obviously right now that's not of his concern because he is behind Jack Eater, but for the next time, because I'm pretty sure those two, and with Marco Krisman and Viatiero behind, those four aren't done yet.
Absolutely not. Lap 22 here at the Circuit of the Americas. We have 7 laps to go. We've just seen Johan get a crucial move there on Slimbo, but it took a lot of work, a lot of lockups, and that might have taken away a lot of tyre life. Oh, Pedro loses the back end out of turn 1. Krisman's eyes would have lit up there at that site, but he wasn't close enough to take advantage as we head through 3, 4, 5 and turn 6 there. You can see Pedro struggling a little bit with understeer through those corners. Actually, he picks up a 3-second time penalty, and of course if you lose the back end, if you get the car out of shape, the tyres heat up and then it's a bit of a pain to actually cool them down to optimal temperature again.
Yeah, the one saving grace that Pedro has right now is that he's got this long straight coming up right here, but it really is a struggle to get the tyres down to the optimal temperature when they overheat. And at least Pedro has the DRS here to stay with Jack Eater, kind of, but obviously no chance to attack. And now he really needs to be careful through this final sector, because if he slides a bit too much, if he's a bit too aggressive on the throttle, the temperature in those tires is going to stay.
Aero trying to go up the inside of Krisman, then into 15. They're going to be side by side through 16, riding aboard with the Toro Rosso off Aero. He goes around the outside here. He'll have the inside for 19, and with those soft tyres, those softer compound tyres, he gets the move done. He does run wide at turn 19, but he won't care. He's now up a position to 3rd place, and a crucial move for the championship here, as he now has Jaquita and Pedro just ahead of him up the road, and he's on those soft tyres. He's got to make good use of them.
Yeah, we might actually see Aero become the championship leader after this race, depending on how many more positions he's going to get. He's got 2 drivers in front of him. He's got the better tyres as of now, and the question is going to be whether he's going to be able to complete those moves and get into the lead and take it home as well.
Of course, only a handful of laps to go, 6 to be exact, or 5 and a bit if you're picky. But riding on board with Aero now, he won't try a move down in towards 11 because he's got the DRS right ahead of him. The only problem is that Pedro will also have the DRS as we head towards turn 12, but Aero, if he's lucky here, might get a little bit of a double toe here. You can see Jaquita trying to break the slipstream, but Pedro is following right behind then. Aero actually backs out, he turns down the battery. Pedro, big lock up there into turn 12 to try and slow the car down in time. And you can see here, Aero's just biding his time. He knows there that he probably wasn't going to get past Pedro in the DRS zone when Pedro had DRS himself, so he saves his battery for another opportunity.
Yeah, and that might be the small call here. You are going to need every little bit of energy from that battery come the final, basically 2 to 3 laps of this race. That's when you have to do all the defending, all the attacking, wherever you are, whatever your position is. That's when it counts. Because come lap 28, come the end of lap 28, that's when the checkered flag will be waved.
Well, Jaquita defending hard into turn 1, trying to break that slipstream. Pedro still right on his tail there, as Aero looking to try and take any opportunity that's served to him here. But still in 3rd place right now as we head through that S section. And Aero's got to be careful that he doesn't overwork his tyres. He doesn't want to take too much life out of them. Yes, he's got now up to 3rd place, but how long can his tyres hold on for now?
That is the big question. He's got 5 more laps to go, 4.5 basically, and they're 7.5 laps old at this point. Oh, look at how close he gets in the braking zone here. And the one issue that Aero has is that Pedro also has the DRS, and that makes it so hard to overtake. Plus Pedro is also decent. He's not great at energy conservation, but he's decent at it. He's at 40% right now. Aero's at around 70, and that means that Pedro can also defend on the straight. All you need really is to defend here around 30 to 35% at the start of the straight.
Oh, here's Aero. He saw an opportunity up the inside of Pedro there through 16, 17 and 18, but had to back out of it. The door was closing. In towards turn 19 he goes, and then towards turn 20, where Chiquita will start lap 25 of this race. And Aero there, a little bit twitchy on the exit of the final corner there, but you can see Chiquita goes right up to the pit lane wall to try and break the slipstream here. Will Pedro try and move down the inside? No, he won't this time around, and almost clips the diffuser there of Chiquita. But for Aero here, it's a little bit frustrating when you know you can get past. You've got to get past because of the tyres you're on, and they will wear out quicker than the two cars ahead of you. But he's also got to try and be smart about it. He can't just launch up the inside if Chiquita and Pedro are battling hard as well.
Yeah, you don't want to risk a penalty after the race. You don't want to risk damage. And so the moment needs to be right, but it needs to be soon as well. And that's a very, very bad conflict of interest right there. And let's see what Aero can do this time around. He's got over 70% energy, but Pedro has enough to defend at least, unless Aero chucks one up the inside. Ooh, Chiquita goes to defend. And they almost come together, Chiquita and Pedro, that is. But they still... Oh, and there goes Chiquita! Loses the back end, and Pedro moves into the lead. And there goes Aero down the inside, and he spins!
Oh my goodness, he just about collects it there. How on earth did he keep that one in the right direction? But there you go, Pedro takes full advantage. Chiquita mistake, and that has allowed the Alfa Romeo to take the race lead here. And Aero saw it, his eyes lit up there. He knew he had to go for it, but he just locked up the rear brakes and was going for a spin. Now he's under pressure from Chrisman heading up towards turn 1.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you what, those three drivers, Pedro, Chiquita, and Aero, all of their rear wheels are going to be lit right now, and that's not a good thing. They're going to be very, very hot. And Marco Chrisman's tires, at least the rear wheel tires, I don't know about the fronts, but the fronts usually don't heat up as much around here anyway. They should be in pretty good shape, so he should have a chance here to attack the other drivers. His tires are fresher than Chiquita's and Pedro's. They're not as overheated. He might have a shot here, but he's falling away now from Aero, in fact. So maybe it's all for nothing.
Well, a little bit of drama there last time around, but Chiquita now closing in on Pedro, now heading down towards turn 12. He dummied it. Pedro now defending the inside line, and he's got the traction there to stay ahead of the Mercedes. Pedro saw that one coming, I think.
Yeah, Pedro half-heartedly defended this one. Even less defense than when he got overtaken, and he did go to the inside, but not fully. This one was he quarter fell for that dummy. He just yeah, not even half fell. It was less than that. I'm trying to put this into words, but he basically counter dummied. He went, oh yeah, I'm gonna defend this, and just moved one car width over, which isn't that much on a straight that is like what, 6 cars wide. So not much of an issue there for Pedro. Not much of a defense, because he knew Chiquita wasn't close enough to actually pull off a move there.
Well, only 2 laps left here of the United States Grand Prix. Where did those laps go? It's been amazing in this race, but Pedro leads the way from Chiquita in second, Aero in third, with Chrisman in fourth, Table Clan fifth, with Pitmat in sixth. You can see there, Johan 4.7 back from Pitmat. His tyres are just off the cliff now, as those soft tyres were always going to be tough to manage to the end of the race. But I tell you what, Aero is keeping those tyres in good nick. He's still right on the back of Jaquita here. He'll have some DRS and he'll have the slipstream. He's much closer than he has been to Pedro all race now, looking for that inside move here. Jaquita will defend the outside as we head now down towards turn 12 here, braking hard now in towards the left-hander. Aero goes up the inside, but you can see that the Mercedes will have the inside line for turn 13. He looks to try and make it up the inside, little bit of wheel bag in there, and he loses the back end slightly, but Aero keeps a hold of second place. He has to defend the inside line of an impending Jaquita attack, but Aero has got through, and now with only 1 and a bit laps left, there's only one car separating him and a race win.
And that is the perfect scenario right now for VRT Aero. One car ahead that has no DRS. That is basically just a sitting duck on the straight on the final lap. Aero now defends from Jaquita, which, you know, smart move, because Jaquita could send it up the inside, but decides against it, thankfully. And now the hunt is on for VRT Aero. Now he's looking forward to Pedro. Can he reel him in? All he needs, I think, if the gap at the start of the long back straight shows half a second or less, then the overtake is on. If it's more than that, if it's 6/10, 7/10, ooh, Aero's struggling a little bit there, and it is. Oh, I think it's over a second. Is he going to get the DRS? I think this might be over a second. Was he within the range? He was not. He was not. No DRS for VRT Aero. Now he's the sitting duck on the straight. Now Jaquita is the one who can attack, and he goes to the inside of the Toro Rosso and takes the position back up to P2. Jaquita goes, oh, almost the attack here back by Aero on the counter, but he decides against it. Jaquita goes a little bit deep to make sure he stays in P2. So Aero in P3, however, we do have some penalties. I know that Pedro has at least one. I know that Jaquita has at least one. What about Aero and Marco Crisma? I haven't looked. Pedro is going to come across the line to take the win on track, but is it going to be the win after penalties as well? No, Jaquita, no, Aero takes the win. VRT Aero now is the championship leader with this win. Marco Crisman P2, Table Clan 3rd, Jaquita P4, Pedro 5th, Pitmad 6th, Limbo 7th, our previous championship lead up until this race. MNT Johan down in 8th, only 4 points for him. And then it will be Yoka the Game in P9 and Swedish Dynamo P10. And for Aero, it is a perfect 26 points, as he also takes the fastest lap of the race with a 1:34.5.
Wow, wow, wow. What a race. And it is Aero who gets on top here at the Circuit of the Americas. A fantastic race from all involved, and Aero takes his 4th race win of the season.
An absolutely fantastic race, and I just want to thank Herman Tilke for designing this track, because this is, again, this was all by design, this whole battling. This is a beautiful track, and this is one of the reasons why I love it. The other, obviously, being that it's near the track, near the city that has my name.
Named after you mean?
Oh yeah, you're right.
Well, Aero gets his 4th race win of the season in dramatic style. What a race! Not a single bit of debris, not a single bit of damage on those battling cars at the front, and that does mean Aero takes over the lead of the championship. Starting from P9, Aero takes his 4th race win of the season, and Marco Crisman in 2nd, and Table Clan rounds off the podium. Jaquita finishing off the podium because of that penalty. Pedro Pedro in 5th with Pitmat 6th. Slimbo finishing in 7th. Johan in 8th. Not a great day for him at all. Yoka in 9th. And Swedish Dynamite with Alex Musica disconnected from the session. They had connection issues all night long. Unfortunately for them, they will both go down as a DNF. Zenki and Jamie James crashing out of this race. We know Jamie James crashed out of this race for sure. Zenki also crashed out from the race. We were riding on board as it happened, but wow, what a race here we've had at the United States. 2 races to go, and Aero leads the championship heading into Brazil.
Yeah, and the unofficial standings, obviously, there could still be penalties coming one way or the other, or be removed one way or the other. But as of right now, the standings are that Benidorm overtakes Johan and has an 11-point gap. So the 11-point gap that Johan had on Benidorm, it's now switched. It is 11 points in favor of Benidorm or Aero ahead of Johan. Then it's another 11 points to Table Clan, and then another 12 points to Marco Krisman. So not much has changed. Marco Krisman has only gained 3 points on Table Clan. And I think, yeah, also 3 points on the championship leader, which before this race was Johan, now is Aero. Other than that, not much has changed, really. The gaps are pretty much the same, which is absolutely insane to think about. 34 points now between the top 4.
Well, hopefully you will join us for what should be a fantastic last 2 races of the season. We are live next week from 8 a.m. I wish it was that early. 8 p.m.
Oh, no.
GMT next week at Brazil. So hopefully you will join us there. Make sure you subscribe to the channel down below. Make sure you follow League at Apex on Racing on Twitter. You can follow me whilst you're there if you like. It's at KS McGinley, I believe it is anyway, I'm pretty sure it is. And you can also follow Austin on Twitter as well. It's at the Badger Man, where the second E is a 3.
Yes, indeed. You've done this so well.
I've done
you
it
can do this better than I can.
Look, I spent all day rehearsing that
Oh.
to get it absolutely right. But yeah, anyway, thank you very much for watching. We had a really active chat, lots happening there. So great to see that as well as lots of support going out there for Jaquita, who eventually finished in 4th place. Very popular driver. Not quite a podium today, though, Austin.
Yeah, but again, I think Jaquita is going to be one of the drivers to watch for next season for sure. With his results so far this season. Again, remember, this was only his 4th race in the F3, and he's had a P7, a P2, P5, and now a P4. So I think he's going to be just fine, and his first race win is just going to be a matter of time.
Yeah, and what a performance they all put on as well. Fair play to everyone involved in that one, especially towards the end there. Could have so easily ended in tears, but that's just the talent of the drivers. They showed their respect, us being defensive and aggressive at the same time. It was absolutely great fun to watch, and I hope you will join us next week for what we hope is going to be much more of the same as we head to Sao Paulo for the Brazilian Grand Prix. Until then, thank you very much for watching. I've been Kieran McGinley.
And I'm Austin Smith.
Take care of yourselves, and we will see you next time.